What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Like or Dislike, where I review AAA, indie, and VR games. I give you guys a brief overview of the game. I talk about the controls, the mechanics, the graphics, and just my thoughts after putting some time into it. And if you're thinking about picking up the game, I do a pros and cons towards the end to help you decide if the game may be for you or not. And today, we are looking at Wanted Dead. Now, I was really hoping this was going to be a good turn your brain off and have fun type of game, but unfortunately it has some major issues going on with it that, in my opinion, no gamer should have to deal with, honestly. So, story wise, you play as a member of a specialized police group called Zombie Unit. When you get a call about a robbery that takes you down this crazy story of trying to find out what's really real or not going on with you. Now, this is a mix of a third-person shooter and a melee fighting game. You have a main weapon and a pistol that you can customize that can improve in the use of fight, and it honestly does, changing out the barrels, the recoil, giving it more stopping power, really does make a difference when you're fighting a whole bunch of people. And you have a katana that you use for melee combat. But I really wish they would allow you to customize it, increasing its damage and its look. So I feel like that was a missed opportunity for it, because you do a lot of fighting with it. You can parry when you fight against other melee opponents, and you pull off some very nice finishing moves. So I wish they would let us customize that a little bit. At the very most, let's give it a different look, increases the attack strength, something like that, since you're doing all this with the weapons. Now, the story here, and I kind of like this, that it doesn't take itself too serious. How they tell the story, you do your missions, and in between the main missions they mix in mini games where you are hanging out with your teammates. Now, I thought this was a funny way to change things up from it being so serious of what's going on, and at the same time getting to know your teammates more, because you start to learn that they're all not right in the head just like you, but you all just like mix together well, and they honestly help move the story forward. And as you complete the mini games, you'll be able to replay them, because as you complete the missions, you go back to the police HQ, which is more or less your hub. So you can go back there and play the mini games, unlock music for the mini games. You got collectibles that you can pick up around the police station, look at the collectibles you need. And it's got some areas where you can do some training with your weapons, seeing how they perform, working on your melee fighting and that. So I thought that was pretty nice. Now, the variety of enemies is not much in this game. You have your standard shooters with different types of guns, melee fighters with different difficulties, and heavy types of fight. So it really doesn't change too much beyond that. It's just like you be going against different factions, and it's like, hey, this faction has shooters, this faction has melees, this faction has their heavies. And so you use a mix of shooting and melee to take them all down. Now, granted, you kind of can go whichever one you want to, but if you want to go towards using your weapon most of the time, ammo does go by pretty fast. So there are some situations where you're going to be using your katana more than you realize. And like I said, that's where I feel like they dropped the ball there, when they could have gave you to improve your melee weapon, so you want to be using it a lot. Especially, like I said, when you're fighting other melee fighters, you have to parry with it to create an opening. So, but that's just me. Now, each mission ends with a boss that has multiple stages to the fight. Some of the boss fights are 2 stages, some of the boss fights are 3 stages. But these fights can be very annoying and long, because if you die, you have to start the fight all over again. And it is very annoying when you've gone through 3 stages of fighting a boss, and they only got a little bit of health, and they get a lucky shot off or a lucky hit on you, and now you got to start the whole thing all over again. I did rage quit a couple of times. I had to put this game down and come back to it. But in a way, it did make me learn the mechanics of the game, finding openings, parrying and that. So kind of take it good and bad with it. Now, you do earn experience, and you use it to unlock different skills that do make honestly, in my opinion, a big difference in your fighting. whether it's opening up new abilities to do more finishing moves, pull off finishing moves faster. For instance, if you cut off a limb of somebody and you have the skill unlock, it gives you an automatically open to do a finishing move on them. So that definitely came in handy. Now, just somewhere else where I wish they dropped the ball and I wish they would have done something about it, goes back to using your melee, your sword. I wish you could have learned new melee attacks, combos, and special attacks. So I feel like that's another miss there. They could have implemented that in the skill tree as well. Let you learn some new attacks, some new finishers, some new combos, because like I said, you do use your katana a lot. Now, graphic wise, the game looks nice. Taking down enemies is gory. They don't skip on the blood on that, which is good. And you got limbs cutting off. But the game has some major performance issues and bugs. And I feel like this is what's going to make a lot of people not want to go towards the game. Now, through my playthroughs, the game would freeze for a second as you went into new areas. Item details will pop in and out, especially in cutscenes. The music and audio in the cutscenes would be off sync, and you just hear it in real time, and that like broke the ambience for me. And you have very long loading screens. All I'll say is this: it's 2023. We do not need loading screens like it is 2007, 2010, 2015. I'll just leave it like that for loading screens. And the other big, and this was a real big pet peeve for me, was checkpoints were so far away from one another that you'd be spending a lot of time going through the same parts of certain missions over and over and over because you got killed off by one person before you got to the next checkpoint, and now you got to redo this whole section all over again. That was very rage inducing for me, and it came to some points on some levels where I knew every layout and I took out every opponent precisely just to get to that checkpoint. And I honestly feel like a game should never get to that point like that unless the game is designed to be like that, and I don't think this game was designed to be like that. Also, the controls fell off a little bit, just the way that they was mapped. You have to manually reload your weapon, especially if the clip is empty. To me, that doesn't make sense. If the weapon is out of ammo, you got ammo, it should just automatically reload. You shouldn't have to manually reload. I understand if you got some rounds left, yeah, it shouldn't automatically reload. But if you completely went out of rounds and you still got rounds left, why do you have to manually reload it? It should just automatically do it. That's like a standard in most games. So, and the cover system was hit and miss on it. There would be several times where I'm in cover and enemy is still hitting me and it's nicking off my armor and my health. So it's like, what's the point of being in cover if I'm still going to take damage? So in my opinion, these things are game breaking areas, and I think this ruins the game. It ruins the fun of this game because it has potential to be just a stupid fun, like I said, turn your brain off and just kill everybody type of game. But these type of things really mess it up, and that's the overall of my game on it. Now, if you're curious what I think about it, you want to decide if you want to get it, welcome to the pros versus cons section. And starting off with the pros, the first thing we're going to look at is the combat. When everything is working right, the combat is fun. Switching between using your weapons, melee, parrying, doing finishers, it was very satisfying. Especially, like I said, if you find a big group and you get in sync and everything is working how it's supposed to, it is very satisfying. The next pro I will give is customizing the weapon. I can honestly say, as I switched out different parts and tweak with the weapons, I could see a difference of how fast I could take an enemy down or how much they got staggered from it. So that was a very good thing. They did a good job on that. And the last pro I'm gonna say is the finishers. No matter which type of enemy you fought, the finishers was always random and it was just satisfying, especially when you took down somebody that was annoying the crap out of you. And like I said, as you unlock more skills, you could pull off finishers faster. So I thought that was good. So the pros done, let's take a look at the cons. And the first con we're gonna look at is the loading screens. Like I said, it's 2023. There's no reason why we need extremely long loading screens, especially if you're getting killed in part of the mission and you're just reloading back to the checkpoint. It shouldn't take that long. Or if you're fighting a boss fight and they take you down, it should load back up pretty fast. You shouldn't have to be waiting a few minutes for that to happen. The next comp we're gonna look at is the bugs and performance. And I'm not gonna go over every little thing again because it's just a lot. There's a lot of bugs and performances. This game needs a major patch. In my opinion, it shouldn't have been released yet. They should have worked on that before they got it out. I can understand a couple of issues, but to me, these are game breaking issues, and this game shouldn't even been out like that. And the last con is the checkpoints. If you can imagine, I've been harping on this. You play through the game, you will understand my pain of how I feel, how these checkpoints set up. The checkpoints being so far away from each other, stupid, dumb. End of story on that. But that's just my thoughts on the game. Overall, I have to give the game a dislike. Even though I like it, I like the potential, I like the way it played, I like how the combat was. There's just too many problems for this game for a gamer to enjoy and have fun with. Hopefully they can patch some of this stuff, get an optimization patch going on, fix these issues, because like I said, it has potential to be just a good fun game, but there's too much problems with it. But that's all I got for it. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. As always, if you guys enjoy the videos, hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I do reviews on other AAA games, indie games, and VR games, just letting you know how they play. If you want to catch me on my social medias, you can see what I'm up to on there. If you want to reach out to me, I do warn you, I love talking about gaming, so I may talk your head off. But that'll be it. Catch me back streaming. I'll be back streaming very soon. Looking forward to that. But otherwise, that'll be it, and I will catch you guys later.